Good afternoon, Mr. Franklin. Good afternoon. I'm Billy Sothern. I'm an attorney. I represent Evans Lewis. You and I have never talked, right? No, sir. Do you remember receiving a letter from me in January of 2015 asking if you would be willing to talk to me? No, sir. No. If I were to show you a letter, might it bring that to mind? Yes. Take a look at that, please. I never received this. You never received that letter? No, sir. All right. Well, in any event, you and I have never spoken, right? No, sir. If I'd have come to see you, would you have agreed to talk to me? No. Okay. You were sworn in yesterday and you're still under oath, right? Yes, sir. This is the second time you've sworn an oath in this building, right? You also were under oath when you entered your plea agreement, when you were rearranged, right? Yes, sir. Okay. You raised your right hand just like you did today, and you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let's take a look at your plea agreement. This is Government Exhibit number 47. That's the document that you told Mr. Rainier that you recognized, right? Yes, sir. That's your plea agreement, right? Yes, sir. That's an agreement between you and the government about the terms of this agreement, of what they agreed to, what you agreed to, and how you're going to move forward, right? Yes, sir. That was pursuant to 2 charges, or actually more than 2 charges. It was pursuant to charges for 2 homicides, right? Yes, sir. What homicides were those? Pt14 and Calvin Celestine. In this letter to Judge Duvall that you signed, it expressed that agreement, right? Yes, sir. Then, eventually, you went before Judge Duvall, you raised your right hand, you swore to tell the truth, just like you did yesterday, and you affirmed that this was the agreement, right? Yes, sir. You did that same thing with respect to the factual basis, right? Yes, sir. You affirmed to him the contents of both of these documents, right? Yes, sir. To who, Duvall? Judge Duvall, yes. Yes, sir. Judge Duvall, the same judge you're going to be before potentially for your Rule 35 motion, right? If they file it for you. If they file it for you, right. Okay. So, Mr. Rainier already pointed out, and who is your attorney on this? Rick Tessier. Rick Tessier. Mr. Rainier already pointed out this language at the top of the page there. However, this plea agreement is predicated upon the decision of the Attorney General of the United States to not seek the death penalty against Darryl Franklin in this federal case. Right? Yes, sir. Because at that time, you were facing the death penalty. Is that right? Yes, sir. You were facing the death penalty for 2 separate murders. There was, yes. Yep. Okay. The next paragraph says, if the Attorney General approves this plea agreement and the defendant chooses to rescind it, there will be various consequences. But, in fact, they did drop the death penalty, right? Yes. Okay. Very briefly, I'm going to show you another document that I will mark as Defendant's Exhibit A. Defendant Lewis Exhibit A? Huh? Lewis Exhibit A. I apologize. Mr. Franklin, is that your case in the case caption there? Yes, sir. This says, Notice of Intent Not to Seek the Death Penalty, right? Yes, sir. Signed by Assistant United States Attorney Sharon Lieberman? Yes. She was the prosecutor in your case then, right? Yes, sir. Her and Mr. Landrew? Yes, sir. This isn't just a local matter. Can you read who signed that second document? I don't know. Eric Holder? It says Office of the Attorney General. That's where that letter came from, right? Yes, Eric Holder. Eric Holder, the Attorney General of the United States of America. So this matter concerning whether Darryl Franklin was going to get the death penalty or not went all the way up to the Attorney General of the United States. That's what this document reflects? Yes. Attorney General Holder, then the Chief Law Enforcement of the United States of America, decided that your cooperation was sufficiently valuable that he was going to agree to that plea agreement and agreed not to pursue the death penalty. All the death penalties go to Eric Holder. That's who make the ruling on them. Mostly, like, I seen guys that come and get that ain't cooperate, and they still get it took off. So it wasn't like it's nothing special, me and no Eric Holder. So your position is no big deal that you were facing the death penalty and they took the death penalty off. That's no big deal? I'm not saying that. You're trying to make it seem as if I got some relationship with Eric Holder. I'm not at all suggesting that you have any relationship with the Attorney General, Mr. Franklin. I'm not suggesting that. But I'll ask the questions. Thank you. So the government did their part, right? Yes. They said that they were going to take the death penalty off the table, which I guess you're saying is no big deal, but they did what they said they were going to do. Yes. You know, of course, that killing 2 people is a serious crime. Yes, right? Yes. It's a serious crime that carries the death penalty. So for some people, that's a serious matter, taking the death penalty off for such a serious crime. And they did what they said they were going to do. Then, also on this page, it indicates which counts you pled guilty to. So you pled guilty to count 1. Count 1 is the conspiracy to distribute with intent or possess with the intent to distribute 1 kilogram or more of heroin, right? You pled guilty to that? Yes. Then it says count 2, conspiracy to use firearms in furtherance of a drug trafficking activity, right? You pled guilty to that? Yes. The third one, count 3, is the murder of Pt14, right? Yes. So you didn't have to plead guilty to the murder of Calvin Celestine, right? That's not part of this plea agreement? Just answer the question. You did not, in fact, plead guilty to the murder of Calvin Celestine. Is that correct? I told them I didn't do it. You told them you didn't do it. After you told them you didn't do it, they didn't make you plead guilty to it. You only pled guilty to these 3 counts. That is correct, right? Yes. Thank you. Here, too, also, as part of this agreement that you signed, that Ms. Lieberman signed. So let's take a look at that quickly. So this, the first signature on the left, whose signature is that? That's mine. You willingly signed this document. You entered into this contract. Is that right? Yes, sir. Underneath, whose signature is that? Rick Tessier. So you entered this contract with the advice and agreement and the signature of your attorney, Rick Tessier. Is that right? Yes, sir. On the right-hand side, Maurice Landrew signed this document, right? Yes. And Assistant U.S. Attorney Sharon Lieberman signed this document, right? Yes. That bottom signature there, Grayman Martin, First Assistant District Attorney for the Parish of Orleans. He signed this document too? Yes, sir. As part of this agreement, there is this term on page 3. If the court accepts the guilty pleas to these counts, the New Orleans District Attorney's Office will agree to dismiss 2 murder charges that are pending in criminal district court, specifically the murder charges concerning the victim, Pt14, on April 12, 2010, and Calvin Celestine, which took place on February 6, 2011, as they pertain to Darryl Franklin. So part of this deal was that they would drop the murder charges against you that were in state court. Yes. Because, in addition to your problem in the feds, you also had these pending state court charges. Is that right? Say it again. You had pending state court charges here in Orleans Parish. I just had the murder. That was it. Just the murders? Yes. Just those 2 murders? Yes. So they agreed to take away just those murders in exchange for this plea agreement, right? In Orleans Parish. You could really say they adopted the case. They took the case themselves. They agreed not to prosecute the 2 murders in Orleans Parish. Is that correct? Yeah, bring it to federal. I'm sure you're aware that in state court, each of those murders would have given you a mandatory life sentence if you were convicted. Is that right? Yes. You knew that. So you were facing 2 life sentences for just those murders, the murders of Pt14 and Calvin Celestine, right? Yes. They also did what they said they were going to do, right? Yes. They dropped those charges. They gave the charges to the feds. They dropped the charges, sir. Dropped it if they had let me go home. I didn't go home. I came to the feds for the same charges. So they didn't let you go home, right? That would have been drop the charges. Yeah, they didn't drop the charge on me. So right here where it says this, that doesn't mean anything to you, right? That they dropped those charges. That's not what that means to you? Yeah, that's what it means. That's what it means, right? Because otherwise, you were facing 2 mandatory life sentences at Tulane and Broad. Yes, sir. Tulane and Broad is no big deal to you because you can beat charges there. That's your opinion, right? Yep. So they took it to the feds. So you didn't take that real seriously anyway, because you would have beat those charges in the state, right? You would have paid someone some money. That's what you were saying earlier? Yeah, I could have paid whatever. But I know, the feds took it. The feds had it. All the while, the feds had the whole case. Everything was built on the feds. So that's no big deal to you. But they did what they said they were going to do, right? What's no big deal to me? That they dropped those charges. No, it wasn't no big deal because they bring them in federal. So the fact that you were facing mandatory life sentences, I'd object. This has been asked and answered. I'll move on. Thank you. Answer the question, sir. Thank you. Answer the question. Say it again. Answer the question. What the question was. Only answer the question. Oh, we don't need commentary. Well, sir, he can answer the question and explain himself, of course. I understand that. All right, thank you.